What is going on, YouTube? Pass the Prop is back. NBA, got one college basketball for you because I have to. It's a nice slate today. But I think we got every single team going tonight in the NBA. It should be a fun slate. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. What's good, man?
Yeah, we got a 13-gamer today, a lot of back-to-backs out there. We got a ton of teams that just played yesterday. And always a reminder that we are just, one day away from the All-Star break. There's 3 games tomorrow and then nothing after that. So for a lot of these guys, it's actually their, pretty much their last game before a vacation. Maybe put yourself in the shoes of how you're doing at work the day before your vacation, before you make any bets today. Just a word of advice out there. Not saying you shouldn't make any bets or anything like that whatsoever, but I am saying that it's always good to be a little bit careful. We see some weird stuff with minutes, some weird rotations. It's just always good to double or triple check, especially on a day like today when you're placing bets.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I actually do not have a prop today. I actually have some totals today. And even in the NBA, I have totals today for that reason, because I'm kind of nervous myself on these because, I feel the same way about this. But got a lot of really nice games, a lot of fun ones on the docket today. So I guess we got to be a little quicker today. Fortunately, it's on me. I got to be out of here a little bit quicker. So we got about a 30-minute run time here today. Stu, what game is catching your eye on today's slate? We got a lot of good ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. I don't want my answer to disappoint people that are looking for the best game of the week. I like the Hornets and Hawks again. For me, that's going to be another game I'm going to be watching closely. The new look Hornets are more fun. We've got some younger guys. We've got some profitable bets. And then the Hawks are like a fun team to watch every single day. Like I always end up having a bet on the Hawks. And I know I definitely will with all these injuries today. We're talking about a Kongwu's out as well. So it's full, rotational hell over there in Atlanta. So I think that'll just be a fun, fast, no defense kind of game. Perfect for props, DFS, all that kind of stuff. I know it probably isn't the best game of the day, but I am excited for that one.
Yeah, I'm digging the barrel too. I'm on Toronto, Indiana. That's my game. That's the game I want to watch. I'll have a bet in that one here in a second, but that's definitely the game I want to watch here. There's obviously some big spreads. I believe Dallas is like a 12-pointer. We have some games in the 210s for a total there. We have Cavs Bulls, which is just gross. There's just so many of those big spreads Washington's 13 tonight. They're the biggest on the slate there. So should be a fun one, but I definitely want to roll with Indiana and Toronto. That's going to be a fun game.
100%. No, one of my bets is in that game. My favorite bet pretty much of today's slate is in that game. So I'm fully with you. And we have the narrative there, obviously, with the trade stuff, Siakam making his return. So that's going to be a good game. And now that Halliburton is playing full minutes, we can go back to enjoying Indiana again, right? Because without Halliburton, I don't mind the backups and stuff, but it gets a little bit ugly down there. But now that he's slinging, 12 assists a game once again, I don't know if you saw, that's like the popular play of the day. Not that I have anything against it, but 12 assists on just any given day for Halliburton shows you the kind of, caliber of talent we're talking about on this team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'll start off today. I think we'll get it going right away here, and I'll start off because I got 2 spots. And I think ours kind of correlate-ish because I'm going to be going with the first half over in Indiana, Toronto. That's going to be my spot for today. I've really liked these first half over looks because, second half, you're trying to win the basketball game. This first half is just, we're trying to get some stats here. I've been rolling with these first half overs quite a bit lately, and they've been good to me, especially these teams that are really explosive and want to run. My favorite part, obviously, if you want to look at pace and all that stuff comes through. Indiana's obviously towards the top. But just looking at first half scoring, Indiana, 61.6 first half points per game. That is number 2, only behind Boston. Toronto, much lower down on the list. I think they're 6th lowest. But 3 points more at home, right? They're averaging actually 57 points per game at home. Indiana scores everywhere because they run so much. So you look at Toronto, they're getting a huge bump at home. They're 3 points better in the first half at home. Indiana's going to be scoring 60-plus regularly in these first halves just with that pace. I think the biggest thing for me is Indiana does a very good job of running you off the 3-point line. That's really what they're trying to do as a team. And when your defense is that bad, you kind of have to do something, right? You have to try to do something that is positive. Looking at this team, Indiana, number 1 in points per game in the paint. Toronto, number 5 in points per game in the paint. And guess what? Both of these teams can't defend the paint at all. They cannot defend paint presence at all. You look at Indiana, they're the worst team in terms of points allowed in the paint at 60. Toronto's 5th worst at 55, right? So both these teams can't guard the paint. Both teams want to score in the paint. Toronto's going to be more than willing to run and score in the paint than try to chuck threes, which Indiana is actually not bad at. That's like their only thing they're good at defensively. So I think we're going to see a lot of slashing in this game. I think we get a lot of easy buckets. Like you said, Toronto's going to be just having their hands full with Halliburton being back and at full strength. I remember betting his double-double at plus 700 about a week and a half ago, and now it's back to, minus 300. So I do expect heavy minutes for him. I can't get away from Scotty Barnes, and Quickly's going to shoot early in the shot clock as well. I think this is going to be a fun game. It's going to be a great game to watch, but I would rather play it on that first half number than having to, bet on it in the second half when these guys might be getting tired. That you talk about a lot of back-to-backs and also that last half before vacation. But you got to get you got to get your money. You got to get paid in that first half. And I think we're going to see a pretty explosive one here in this.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love the logic. It literally goes hand in hand with what I was saying before. That's so funny. I had no clue that you were attacking the first half. It obviously correlates with what I like in this game. I definitely like the angle right here. It makes a ton of sense. Toronto, they're not my favorite team to rely on to score in general, but like you said, this is kind of the perfect circumstance. We're like, well, they can attack the paint. They can operate pretty well there. And obviously this is going to be a fast transition-based game, and that's a good pathway for easy buckets right there. So I'm with you. I definitely like the logic right here.
And staying in that game, I'll let you get to yours here.
Yep, we're going Pascal Siakam over 5.5 first quarter points. That is minus 128 over on FanDuel Sportsbook right now. I'm always on DraftKings to start out with my first quarter stuff because they have same game parlays. So I just like the flexibility over there. They had this at minus 180. And for me, going from 6 to 6.5 is a key number because you never want to rely on the 3, especially from a guy like Siakam, who actually, surprisingly enough, for me at least, is taking over a 3 per first quarter, which I would not have expected. If you bet me that, I would have lost a lot of money right there. He actually has been a little bit more aggressive from the 3, which is something I like to see. But if you've heard my analysis before, I always like to theoretically be able to get over with just 2s alone, with just, attacking the restricted area. And for me, I know a lot of people are going to be on Siakam tonight. It's obvious. I like it with or without Miles Turner. I almost feel better about it with Miles in there because we know what the rotations are right now. We know they're not going to mess anything up, and he's not the highest usage center in the world. He kind of sits over in the corner. He makes your center have to respect that, and he gives more room for Siakam to attack, obviously. But if he's out, then the usage is going to maybe not double, but it's going to increase 8 to 10%. So for me, I like that we can kind of get a little win, both ways, whether Turner is in or out. I see positives on both sides right there. And what I really like about this is, frankly, I've had a lot of success attacking the first quarter in particular in these huge revenge narrative games because that's when the blood's flowing, right? The guys coming out there, I mean, just from a pure like fan perspective, they're attacking early and often. It's not a secret. Everybody in the arena knows how big of a deal it is. Siakam's been there a long time. He has a long legacy in that city. It's very hard to imagine, especially with the pass-heavy point guard like Tyrese Halliburton, that they're not going to get, Siakam involved early and often. And once again, it's not like we're asking for charity or anything. This is something he's comfortably going over already, averaging 6.6 per game in the first quarter, averaging over 9 minutes per game as well. He played 7 in that first game. And since then, he's been over 9 in every single game, which is really nice. It's hard to get that kind of stability. He's even touched 11 and 12 a couple times. And to be honest, against your, former team, if you make that first shot, it's kind of hard for me not to see 11 or 12 minutes here. So I like Siakam full game. I think that's going to be one of the more obvious plays in the world. But it's been like numerous times now where I've seen the whole gambling community lose just due to variance, blowouts, the breaks coming up. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. I want to focus in on the first quarter. You know what I mean? I like Siakam. I think he has a killer game. I wouldn't mind the 30 plus, all that stuff. It makes a ton of logical sense. But for me, I think the first quarter is the best way to attack. And I love that we're getting a great number on FanDuel compared to DraftKings.
Yes, sir. Hey, and I didn't even tell you what our plays were. We didn't even know our plays, so we popped on today because it's been a little hectic here this morning. So it is nice that we're kind of in a correlated spot. Happy that we are kind of thinking the same way here. And yeah, we got some guys in the chat here popping in. We got Flan Fam, obviously happy to see you in here. My guy Dan popping in live with us. Xavier talking about the dentist call from you last night on the RA spot. So good shit. We're happy to see you guys pop in here and cash with us. Like I said, we go all over MLB, NBA, college basketball, which I'll be talking about here in a second. Stu, did you have a second play that you wanted to talk about here? Do you want me to head over to college?
Yeah, I got a half unit spot. I mean, I got a lot of spots. The problem is, we're going Trey Young over 2.5 first quarter assists at -130. We'll make it a first quarter party in here. I mean, just to spoil it for Twitter and stuff, I'll have some stuff on Russell Westbrook later. I like Russ today. They just bumped his line like 10 minutes before the show, which is a bummer. And then my guy Denny, all over Denny today, but they took all the lines off the board and then put him back a little higher. So got to get back to work there. But for now, this is the other bet I do have in. Trey Young over 2.5 first quarter assists, -130 ESPN, -135 DraftKings. I like both of them here. For me, we've talked about Trey Young a lot on this show. And to be honest, I don't know if there's been a guy that's been more consistent for me throughout the season in terms of his, like we talk about Halliburton all the time, but I mean, Young is consistently day in and day out at that 10.5 assist number getting there. And we've talked about it a lot. For me, the thing I like the most is that even with all these injuries right now, this team is still so deep that there's so many different guys that I can depend on. Like even like the Bays, the Bogdanoviches, the outside shooters, because Trey does normally take a little bit of a break in the rotation where they let DeJounte take over for a couple minutes. And then Trey comes back in as the sole ball handler for those last couple minutes. And that's when he runs that bench unit. And even without a pure pick and roll ball handler, they still do have Bruce Fernando, or that guy that, was with the Rockets. Yeah, Bruno. There we go. Bruno. I think I said his last name wrong as well. He's like a reserve kind of solid backup, big 4, small 5. To me, like Trey Young makes it so easy for these guys that like I think we're still going to get 2 or 3 assists in the pick and roll. I think we're going to have some, success there, but there's so many outside shooters we can work to. And we've talked about a lot. Jalen Johnson, the transition offense with this team, they can get fast. They can score instantly. I know this is a high number right here, but to me, this is one of those things, and I know it's going to sound crazy to compare it to this. We talk about it in the NFL a lot where, where Justin Jefferson gets to 99 yards and they're like, we don't want to go over 100. I've never seen a 3.5 first quarter line, even though this one probably should be. Same with Halliburton as well. It's one of those things where, like, if it were me setting the line, it would be 3.5. Like, you'd have to pay, -2 or like -170, -200 or something like that. Because it's not like the hit rates are bad. It's not like the consistency is bad or anything like that. It's just a very high number, and you need to be a very high usage player. But I mean, this is, number 2 in assist rate right here, Trey Young. So I think we're getting a little bit better number because of the injuries and stuff like that. But I think they're discrediting just how easy Trey makes it for everyone else here. So I like the first quarter assist. It's the Hornets, guys. I mean, look at that team. It's Nick Richards in the paint down there. I mean, it's an ugly defense right now. It's a new team. They're still meshing together. I think this is going to be a high-scoring, fun game like I talked about early, and I think Trey Young gets it started early.
Yes, sir. Love it. I love it. And I think that we're going to be I'm going to kind of talk in the same lingo here about this one because it's a number that's very, very high, and I don't think that they can price it high enough. And that's exactly where I'm going. And I'm going to the team that I've made you bet probably more than any other team here. And I'm going back to Southern Conference, man. I already made my YouTube play of the day this morning, and it was a Southern Conference play. This was my other Southern Conference play today, and I absolutely love both of them. Love both these overs today, but specifically Furman Paladins at home against the fade of all fades, that is the VMI Keydets this year. This team is very, very young. They used to be a wagon for me. I actually used to be betting on VMI. But new coaching regime, you lose your top player. Your next top player transfers out because you stink now, right? Now you're starting from the bottom. We got a new coach starting from the bottom, trying to get this team to compete. And they run so fast, which I really like, because when you're a young team and you have a lot of disadvantages, you got to find some way to score. And they're the number 2 team in pace in the country, but their defense is horrendous. They're bottom 50, pretty much every single defensive category. They struggle on every point of attack. If you talk about the 3 ball, they're bottom 50 in that. Talk about points in the paint, they can't stop anybody. Talk about fouls, they average 20 fouls per game on the road this year, right? This team is very bad away from home. And I bet the Samford game over on the weekend. It was at 170. That game was at 170. We saw this team give up 102 in that game, right? VMI on the road. Let's just take a look in conference play. They give up 90 to Mercer, who is cheeks, dude. They suck. Western Carolina dropped 102 on them while they're on the road there. Samford 134 and Chattanooga 109. That is the last 5 road games for VMI. This team cannot stop anybody. We grabbed 3 people from the chat right now. We're putting up at least 50. I'm telling you that right now. You grab 3 guys from the chat and us 2, we're going to score some buckets on these guys because they can't stop anyone. And I'm really concerned with their paint presence. They don't have anybody down there to stop pretty much anyone. Their top 4 scorers are all guards, right? They're very guard-oriented and really trying to run the bigs off the floor. Unfortunately, you got Marcus Foster, who's a stud, JP Pugs, who's a stud, and then you got Alex Williams, who I think is going to be a difference maker in this one. Had 23 points in their first matchup, 6 boards. On the year right now, he's averaging 15 a game at home. He's only 6'6", but I think that as a forward in that paint against these guys, I don't think they're going to have anybody to slow him down. And in that first matchup, like I said, this Furman team really did whatever they wanted. And when you have a pace like VMI pushes, Furman's not slow either. They're 59th in the country there. They got too many good guards here for them to slow them down. 3-point percentage is absolutely abysmal, but they shoot the ball. Free throws well. 3-point ball well for Furman. VMI is, I couldn't even tell you an NBA equivalent of how bad this defense is. I really couldn't. Like, you don't see numbers like this. It's like giving up 150 a game. That's really what these guys are doing. And you just don't see that very often. Like the sheer fact that you can give up 130 points in a game, that's incredible, dude. There's only 40 minutes. Like, it is just, it blows my mind. And I've continued to fade these guys. They continue to pay off. And when we're going here with Furman, they got the experience and they got the guards. They're at home. They're a 22-point favorite. I don't even want to touch the spread, or I don't even want to touch the full game over because I don't trust VMI on the road. But I know one thing. Furman's going to come out firing here, and I think they're going to put up an absolute massive number in this game. I'm really kind of concerned to see what we're going to get from VMI, especially after you get UNC Greensboro, Mercer, East Tennessee State. All 3 of those guys are slow, and they just had back-to-back road games. You get to head home against the worst defense in the conference. Whew, just perfect spot. Everything comes together. I know it's a high number, but they were giving me Samford at 91.5. Like, they're starting to realize, we have to go higher because this defense is that bad. Sign me up for JP Pugs. Huge night here. I'm excited here.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll give me any props. They might actually. I'm going to look for him in a second right here. You'll have to tell me how to spell this guy's name. But, I mean, it's kind of like what you said right there of, like, when a number gets this high, you know it has to be, like, for a reason, just in general, right? And everything you were saying right there of, like, additionally going back home after, like the more human aspect, after having slow game, you just get this awful defense. It's just a good time to unload. Everyone gets their shots up. Definitely see. They made me a lot of money over the years as well. I'm a Furman Paladins fan. I didn't know you could have such a goofy name and be so good at basketball. But they had a guy named Pegasus last year or something like that. And he was
Pugs. JP Pugs.
Okay.
That's good. I think you're talking about. He's still there. He's good. He's very good.
He made me money in the tournament because of you last year.
Yep. There we go. They were that 13 seed. I had that bet on them. I had them moving on in my bracket breakdown. And lastly, if you can find props of this on your prize picks, any of these spots, man, I'm telling you, this is going to be one of those games that you're going to want to have as much exposure to as possible. And then just looking at it, Furman, 33% from 3 on the year, 36.5 at home. Like, I'm telling you, it is a huge, huge advantage to be at home against these guys because VMI's gym looks like a 7th grade elementary school gym. It's small, it's tight, but when you have a ton of fans, it's nice, right? The rims look really rust. Like it just doesn't look like a nice place to play on the road. But those are usually the fun games when you get like crowds. You don't have those as much this year, but now that you're sending them into a bigger environment like this, I think Furman's going to run it up here. I would be surprised if they don't hit triple digits.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for it. I mean, I don't even know if you can really take alt lines at this point, but I didn't see any props, unfortunately. They've had Furman before on Prize Picks. I'll check again later. I'll update in the comments if I find anything here, or the other place would be like Bet Online that would have it. So I'll check there as well. But I definitely love the college props, man. It's you, a couple other people just give them to me every once in a while. They like hit at an insane rate. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. I wish it was more widely available so that we could all focus a lot more in on that kind of stuff, you know. But at the time, I know like 4 people in chat can play college basketball props, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's why we got lucky when we could play Deron Holmes. Unfortunately, Deron Holmes had just gone absolutely nuclear the last 3 games. Right after we bet his long shot rebounds, he's been going nuclear. Shout out Dayton. Last night had the team total under on Duquesne, and Duquesne put up 34 in the first half. They had 57 with 8 minutes left. They ended at 57. That is an absolute lockdown. Them and San Diego State. I had the under on team total for Colorado. I'm going to tell you right now, that was the most impressive display of defense I've ever seen in college basketball. That team scored 44 points in the first half on them. San Diego State allowed 2 points in the last 11 minutes.
Damn,
2 points.
11 minutes is crazy.
They ended up giving up. They had an 11-point second half, and they stayed under. Like I'm like, I didn't even look at the game first 5 minutes of the second because it's just like, okay, this team's projected 78. I live bet them at 74 under. I live bet them at 71 under. And I'm like, damn it. Okay, I'm too far into this. I can't watch it because they were just shooting lights out. It got up to like 78. And then San Diego State just like, all right, we're going to lock up here. We're going to lock up 2 points in the last 11 minutes. So impressive. So impressive.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. But hey, you love to see it. Funny enough, I had Holmes in my Prize Pick slip last night. I cashed on him as well. So
phenomenal.
That guy's been really nice. But yeah, no, I'm excited for March Madness. A good little preview. I know that's right around the corner now.
Yes, sir. I'll do my bracket preview like I always do, where I break down the spots here. I think we're going to get a little bit more action, a little more views on those now that we're actually, kind of going. We're kind of getting them in the mainstream here. I feel like college basketball betting is falling a little bit compared to like NBA and NFL and all that stuff, but definitely a lot of money to be made there.
100%. Do you have any long shots? I got 1 or 2 I can share real quick before we
I'll let you drop your long shots here. I will look and see if they have any props in any of these bigger games here for college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm riding a little hot right now on the long shots, and I have to go to a guy that has just won me a lot of money. We're going Russell Westbrook double-double, plus 850. I mean, this is the guy that can get you the double-double in every different combination. And for me, I'm going to play him in some way. The line moved up on me a little bit before the show, so I did not play it. And it actually moved back down, funnily enough, now, so I can play it again. But that'll be on Twitter later. There you go. Shout out to you guys that are here with us live. But for me, Westbrook and the small ball style lineup is going to be key right here against the Warriors, right? The biggest thing, I played a couple Westbrook unders, and it's been one of my favorite things recently was Zubac re-entering the lineup. But now there's more minutes for him to get back in the rotation. For me, it was a pure minutes fade, right? When Zubac's back, it was cutting off his minutes. But now Kawhi Leonard, who's a 7-8 rebound per minute or per game kind of guy, now exits the lineup again. So for me, anytime I can get Russell Westbrook like near 25, 30 minutes, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? It's just it's automatic. Like he's such a phenomenal per minute producer. I had him 9 like PA last time he had a good 30-minute game, and he had like 2 in the first half and still cashed for me. It's one of those things where like it's just what he does best. The points is one of those things. It's almost scarier to get to the 10 points, but with no Kawhi, there should be opportunity. We already know Golden State is not the strongest defense in the world. They're not a particularly strong, like they're not a big team, right? Russ is going to do most of his damage in the paint down there. And to be honest, Draymond is going to probably be chasing around better offensive players. So for me, Russ is the number one guy I like. I also do have a Denny, Avdia, and Amen Thompson double-double parlay as well. But I can post more. I already have Amen up from Twitter last night, and I'll talk more about that stuff later. So this is what we got for the show.
All right. I did find a long shot for a guy that I did want to find. They gave me an alternate points, rebounds, assists, and I am very psyched about it. I am going to Great Ozabor right here. This is a guy you probably never heard of, unless you're following into my territory here, where I like to bet on New Mexico. I like to bet on San Diego State. I love those teams, man. I love that conference. And Ozabor is the number one guy. He is the big guy for Utah State Aggies, the team that everybody wanted to bet last year, right? And this guy is an absolute beast, 6'8", 250, absolute bruiser on the year, averaging 18 and 9. And I think this is going to be a game where he just goes absolutely nuclear on these guys. The one thing I do like about Wyoming is they're significantly better at home offensively. They're very, very good at home. But we looked at that first game when they had to travel to Utah State, and Wyoming dismantled them. 83-59 in Utah State. That is an absolute beatdown. I expect them to keep it closer, especially in Wyoming. He only played 30 minutes. I'm telling you, this boy has played 40 minutes every minute of some of these games. And he only played 30 in that first game and still just absolutely nuked these guys. He went for 28-3 in that first matchup and played 30 minutes. Let's take a look. 40 minutes in their game against Boise. 40 minutes. He played all of them. San Diego State, close matchup. He played 37 minutes. If you're going to give me 5 extra minutes to get 3 points, rebounds, this game is going to be closer. It's a 151 total. I love the over in this one because I love betting Wyoming at home for points. Utah State has the advantage. There is no big inside that can guard Ozabor here for Wyoming. Plus 395 is absurd. This dude is an absolute beast. If you can find a way to bet him today, I would be all over his props. This dude is an absolute stud. There is no one inside for Wyoming to even come close to this man. And he's going to not only probably grab 14 boards, he might throw 20 points in there as well and not even need the assists here. Like, he can do that. That's the type of player this guy is. He's a stud. He's huge. Big-time numbers coming today.
Okay, sounds good. I love it. I'm just saying, for the Prize Picks guys out there, we got 26.5 PRA, we got 8 even rebounds, and we got 16 even points. So which one of those do you like the best? Just PRA?
I'll play them all. PRA.
Okay.
Sure. Just because if you can't get points, rebounds. I prefer points, rebounds. Because – like, yes, he's had a pop-off game of 7 assists against Boise, but Boise is phenomenal against the paint. Like, they're going to trap, right? That Wyoming just can't. Even if you double, he'll just be able to go through these guys. There's just nobody there, especially 250. This dude's a bruiser, man. So I'm about to go lock in his regular PRA. I'm going to go lock in this. I'm going to go lock in everything here because I actually love this dude today.
All right, sounds good. I'm in with you. And I see
right.
Xavier. Okay, I was just going to say Xavier, 8.5 rebounds. Check my Twitter. I'm there with you, buddy. 2 a.m.
Let's do a quick recap because we haven't yet, and we'll get these guys on their way. We can drop some other stuff. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat, guys. Unfortunately, I have a hard out here, or else I would stay longer. But let's recap here, Stu.
Sounds good. Pascal Siakam, over 5.5 first quarter points, minus 128 on FanDuel. Then we got Trey Young, half unit, over 2.5 first quarter assist, minus 130 ESPN. Finally, we got Westbrook, double-double, 850. I also love that 7 rebounds, 7 assists, plus 786 on ESPN. I'm going to tell you on that.
Beautiful. Indiana, Toronto, first half over 125. DraftKings, minus 108. Good price there. Furman, team total over 94.5. Just click it. Don't think about it. I did that stuff already. You don't have to think about it. I know it's going to be gross. It's going to be a fun game to watch, though, I promise. And then I'm going to Utah State, Wyoming. Utah State, big man, great Ozabor. PRA over 35.5 is my long shot. Almost 4-1 on this guy. Late night hammer, too. If you like to watch some late night basketball, you'll be able to see it there. So really like this slate. Stu, you got anything for the people before we head out? We got about a minute.
Just follow over on Twitter at Monotone Football. It's NBA season. That means it's late night season. The late night props are coming back, fellas. It started last night. Amen Thompson. We're going to keep it going. So a lot more on Twitter today. Make sure to follow over there.
Love it. Thank you guys for tuning in. YouTube Play of the Day is locked in over there already. Go check it out. Hit the like button on the video. We'll see you guys soon. See you Friday for another round of Pass the Prop there.